Welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome to the Polestar 3 Long Range. There's a few things I want to say about this car and EVs in general, because it's really sparked a very specific thought about EVs, which I'll get to later, along with the price of this particular car. But first, I thought let's park up somewhere and just see what we think to the whole vibe, as the kids say. Don't ever say that again, Mark. We'll get out, have a look at the exterior, have a look at the interior, and then we'll talk EVs. Okay, here we go. The Polestar 3. Now, a bit of a confession here. I've had this car for 3 days and I forgot I was getting it as a press car. Completely my fault. It's iPhone season. I run a tech channel as well, and the diary got a bit muddled up, and I'm going away in 2 days as well. So I've got limited time with it. So I thought let's use that as an excuse to react fairly off the cuff to the look and feel of this car, so bear with me. Oh dear, I hope you enjoy this channel, guys. It's very different to Car Wow. I'll tell you what it's got. If I come round to the front, the thing I noticed earlier as I was walking up to it from my house is that it's got sort of, and bear with me here, kind of Transformer vibes. It felt a bit like a Transformer as I was walking up to it. I don't know if that's just me being a child of the 80s or what, but there's something about this car that feels a bit robotic in a really cool way, I think. Now, it's not the most spectacular looking car ever, and it's not really supposed to be. This is an SUV. SUVs, generally speaking, aren't that sexy unless they are, well, unless they're made by Lotus. The Electra that I drove recently, by the way, beautiful thing, but this is your standard SUV EV. Polestar are very popular in my neck of the woods. I live in Warwickshire, and for some reason they're just 10 a penny. They're absolutely everywhere. So you see this badge a lot. Headlights are this kind of split thing which we see a lot now on modern cars. Side profile. It's not a bad looking thing. The wheels are 21 inch. They are plastic trims, I think these are. Oh, that's not, sorry, that's plastic. That's alloy, but not a fan of that design personally, although the size does set off the car quite nicely. We get 2 keys. We get a massive key card thing here, a bit too big in my opinion, and this, which is another key fob. The idea being really that this is a completely keyless entry car. It works pretty well. I've not really had any issues with it apart from instances like now where I'm walking up to it and it's not unlocking. If that happens, this is your get out of jail free card. So basically you motion this against that and it opens. Okay, interior. I know this doesn't go down well when I say it, but it is inspired by Tesla because we don't have much stuff. We have a screen, we have nothing here really apart from the volume and play controls for the stereo. We have a screen behind the steering wheel, which actually I really like. It's this tiny kind of screen which initially gives you exactly what battery you have left, the range, and then when you turn it on you get Google Maps. Does the job really well actually. This screen, I like the fact they've gone for the portrait version of this and it doesn't twist around and do all the kind of BYD stuff. It just stays as it is, and the system is so easy to use. I've not really been searching for too much stuff that I can't find. Everything's in here. It looks really nice as well. The other thing to mention in here is that we have the Bowers & Wilkins stereo. Speaker there, speaker down there, speaker up here, speakers literally everywhere. I know Bowers & Wilkins very well. I review a lot of their headphones and audio gear on my tech channel. Trust me, Bowers & Wilkins know what they're doing when it comes to audio, and this is one of the best sounding car stereos I've ever heard. It can play back Atmos stuff as well, so if you've got an Atmos Tidal playlist, or I think it works on Apple Music as well, you get this height to the audio which you do not get in a normal car stereo. But even just normal stereo stuff, it's one of the best I've ever heard, which isn't surprising because it's Bowers & Wilkins. But the rest of this interior is relatively unremarkable. It feels quite premium in here. I suppose Polestar do have this thing where they put the name of the car and the fact that it's using 100 traced wool on the upholstery and all that sort of stuff. Animal welfare secured. They're very big into this stuff. And as you can see, quite happily houses an infant seat as well. I've been taking my kid around in this and he very much likes it actually. He was a big fan of this car. USB down here, which is nice. We have plenty of stowage down there. We have stowage here. The door pockets are nice and big. They've basically thought about everything. If we get into the rear, in fact, let me show you the boot first. So open the boot up. I always have strange things in the boot, nothing weird, but an obsolete computer, backpack, camera gear and stuff, and a Galaxy S25 Edge box. Interesting, but it's a big boot, plenty big enough. Trust me, it's big enough. You don't need to know the litres. If you need to know that, check out the website. Okay, rear space, let's get in here. Now I am about 5'8", 5'9" on a good day, and there's so much space here. So if you're 6 foot, I'd guess if you're even 6.5 foot, if you're very tall, I think you'd be fine. We have heating controls here, we have USB-C, we have a pull down thing here, which obviously I need to move that out of the way to do. Pull that down, and what do we get? We get nothing, no kind of cup holders, that's a shame, and you can't get into the back either. Interesting. The Bowers & Wilkins stuff continues in the back as well, so we have these lovely Bowers & Wilkins. That isn't a speaker, it's just a bit of trim, but it's illuminated, looks nice. It's a nice car. But I do want to talk about EVs in general now, so let's get it on the road and waffle a bit. Just one thing on the interior in this particular car, there's some rattles. Now I'm a bit of a stickler for this kind of thing, and I should caveat this by saying that this is a press car, and press cars, I look after them, by the way. You could argue that they perhaps don't live a life as a car that is looked after by one single very careful owner. Worth bearing that in mind, but it's done 4,000 miles-ish, this one, and there's just some rattles from the door cards, which is a bit irritating. And I've never heard this before. There's like a, I don't know if you probably can't hear it on this mic, but there's like a squeaky connection for the seat belt, which is odd. If it was me, I would be taking it back and saying, can you sort these out, please? Some spec details. So this is the single motor version, and it has 295 brake horsepower and 490 Newton meters of torque. The range is about 438 miles maximum, which is pretty impressive. At the moment, this has 57% remaining, and that equates to apparently 140 miles. I've not tested that. You won't get 140 miles out of that 57%. That isn't the way that EVs work, but this is a long-range electric car. EVs are getting increasingly hard to review because they're fairly unspectacular. They don't have engines, they don't make much noise at all, they just get the job done. Some of them are very fast, incredibly quick, like the Porsche Macan Turbo that I reviewed recently. In fact, all Teslas are very quick. But I've long said that I think that's a bit of an issue in certain circumstances. I like quick cars, that's what I'm about. I'm a car guy, but my concern is that these cars are ending up in the hands of people who, I don't mean this in a derogatory way at all, but people who perhaps don't know how to handle speed of that kind. And it is bang, instant speed. It's put your foot down, you're away. What's interesting about the Polestar 3, and this is the single motor version, there's a dual motor version which is a lot quicker. No, it doesn't completely smash the 0 to 60 time, but it's fast enough. You don't get that, neck snapping thing that you get in certain other EVs that have that massive wave of torque straight away. It doesn't feel slow either. That 0 to 60 of 7.5 seconds sounds a bit rubbish, doesn't it? In reality, in the real world, it doesn't matter because it's enough to get you out of trouble. It's enough to make driving around B roads absolutely fine, enjoyable. This isn't a dynamic M Sport BMW. It's not going to feel like that on the back roads, but it is quite good fun to drive. I've not really driven this and thought, ooh, feels like I'm driving a tugboat around the B roads. It's actually good fun, and that's enough, I think, for the people who will buy this. And this is my thought on EVs in general now. I think they need to do one or two things really well, and it doesn't have to be something incredible or spectacular or life-changing. It's just one or two things that make your life easier and your day just a little bit better. And in this car, it's that speed. It's the unspectacular but perfectly adequate and enjoyable speed that you can manage. Box ticked. Sometimes it is the simple things as well. On this display, I don't know if this is a default thing or if it's just been set up in this car, but regardless, it can be there clearly. There's a button for speed limit, which is on by default when you turn the car on. That's the case in the UK. And if it's on, it means you get a beep every time you go above the speed limit by 1 mile an hour or whatever. I can just turn that off. Not because I want to speed, but because that noise is so irritating. Another box ticked. Single pedal drive. That's the other thing in the Polestar 3 that I've been very impressed with. I tend to turn this off, and if you're not sure what that is, it's basically a way of driving an EV where you barely use the brake pedal. As I am now, I put my foot down and I take my foot off, and it starts to slow down. And there's two settings for this on the Polestar 3. There's the current setting, which is number 1, and then a second setting, which is a much more, not aggressive, but it's definitely, it slows you down a lot quicker. And the idea being that you can just drive pretty much with one pedal. You do occasionally have to brake, obviously, but generally speaking, you can do that. The reason I like it in this car is because with it off, I don't really like the way the car drives. It's weird. It just feels like you have less control over driving smoothly. It's normally the other way around. Normally, I don't go anywhere near that braking, you know, the one pedal drive type stuff. It just gets on my nerves. But in this, it makes sense. It makes you drive slightly differently. You can get used to it very quickly. If you're worried about that, I wouldn't be. You don't buy an EV for out and outright excitement. You buy a petrol car for that. That's what you do. So if you're going to buy an EV and spend a lot of money on it, I suggest you get one like the Polestar 3 that does everything just to make the driving simple. Box ticked. And another box ticked is the software. They have not gone to town on it like certain other manufacturers. It is just simple. I've barely had to go into that at all, apart from putting in destinations for the sat-nav, which is fantastic, by the way, because it's Google Maps. It just works. I don't need to look for things. Okay, one thing that did throw me slightly is the fact that we have the gear shifter, or the drive select, as a, what's it called, stalk over here, which we don't normally have in the UK. That feels very American kind of muscle car thing. Because of that, we don't have the windscreen wiper thing here, which sounds scary, but it doesn't matter because it does it automatically, and finding it in there is very straightforward. So again, another box ticked. I like this car. It may have sounded at the start of this that I couldn't be bothered with it and I'd forgotten it was coming, all that sort of stuff, and all that is true. Well, I can be bothered with it, but I had forgotten it was coming. But the point being, I do like this car. At first I thought, oh, it's a bit boring. It's just a bit, okay, it's an SUV, it drives okay, whatever. But then I'm thinking differently about EVs now. I'm starting to think about the things they need to do to make your life easier. And I think Polestar have pretty much nailed it. They've nailed the lack of buttons thing, which is normally irritating, but in this, it doesn't matter. It's Tesla-like. It's Tesla-like in that respect. What I'm not sure about is the price of this particular car. This is a press demonstrator, as mentioned, so what happens with press cars is that they get loaded up with pretty much everything because they want to show off and give you all the toys and stuff to play with, which is fine. But it does mean that the price of the car is at the top end. So, well, oh, hang on, let me pull over. Okay, so the standard long-range single motor, which is this car is based on that, starts at £67,910, which is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. This particular car has a few extras, so it has things like metallic paint, the pilot pack, whatever that is, the plus pack. It's got those HD LED headlights, the Pro pack, privacy glass, the animal welfare wool. That brings it to £82,000, just over. 82 grand. Would I spend 82 grand on this? I mean, a big part of that is going to be that Bowers & Wilkins stereo. It's a lot of money, 82 grand, isn't it? Putting the price to one side for a minute, which I know is a massive thing, I'm impressed. I do have other Polestars on the way, which I will not forget about, I promise. It's over to you now, guys. EVs are hard to review. They're sometimes hard to get excited about. But I think I'm starting to figure out what matters with them. Get involved down below, and if you haven't hit subscribe yet, but you've enjoyed this video, you know what to do. And equally, give the video a thumbs up. It all helps massively. Get involved in the comments, tell your mates, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.